Hey guys, welcome to another video. Again, a very important video over here where we're going to be talking about the changes, the reforms that are going to happen to your H1B rule. The whole H1B process, the lottery-based system, that's not going to stick around for very long. At least if this rule comes into play, this is going to be how things, transform after 2020. Of course, we already know, I've already made a video about this, that, for 2020, H1B visa along with some other visas, no new H1Bs and some of those other visas are going to be issued. So if these visas are important to you and you want to know what's going on, and I've broken down the exact statement by President Donald Trump. I've given you the exact proclamation as on the website of the White House. You should really watch that video to know more. It's actually one of the best videos that I've done, and it's going in detail and explaining every single part of the process. Okay, it'll be on the I button above, but in this video we're going to be talking about the reforms that are coming into play from next year, that is from 2021, when the H1B starts basically being issued once again. These norms are going to change the H1B. At present, again, this is not what has been implemented. This is what is still in the talks. So, however, there is a high chance that it will be implemented. Okay, again, this is the official statement from the White House. Again, one of the proclamations over there, but the one thing that I want to tell you is, before we study this, it's a very brief statement. I've highlighted the important parts, so we're going to be looking over those, and with that I'm going to be telling you what its impacts are, what its potential impacts can be, okay, in the future. So I hope that will help you decide what you would like to do with the information that you have next. Great. So now let's begin. It says President Donald J. Trump is putting American workers first as we restore our economy to greatness. Wow, okay. So this has been issued again on June 22nd, 2020. And the first thing that it says is that we have a moral duty to create an immigration system that protects the lives and jobs of our citizens. For those of you who did not know, the earlier system was somewhat like this. There was a lottery. About 250,000 people applied every single year to that lottery to get that H1B visa, and about 85,000 people were actually given those visas. Okay, it was completely random, completely luck based, and that's what they are going to be talking about here. That's what they're transforming. They're saying that, hey, that this is not good enough. Okay, we need a better system. We only want the top talent in our country, and we just want to make sure that our American citizens are not being undercut by this system of immigration. Okay, so he says that President Trump is extending the pause on new immigrant visas through the end of the year to ensure we continue putting American workers first during our ongoing coronavirus recovery. So I already talked about this in my other video where I talked about exactly what's going on with the visas. Why are they being suspended? Are there any exceptions? When do they really start back up again? So watch that for this information. But the next thing that he's talking about is that President Trump's effort will ensure businesses look to American workers first when hiring. So up till now, what happened was that, till now employers wanted to hire immigrants. Employers wanted to hire international students. And the reason was that they are cheaper. Now, it's not that if an American worker and an Indian worker, we can say American worker and an immigrant, both are working the same positions, it's not the case that they will be given different salaries. Hey, that can be the case, but usually what I've seen is that they would usually create separate positions just for immigrants also. Like, this is what is very, very common. It will be surprising to you to know that there would be some software developers who would be like senior software developer, and over here they would have usually American workers who they would be paying more, just the designation difference. And somewhere around here would be the the immigrant workers down here, down here on the salary chart, if you take a look at it. And that was because these positions were just created for these immigrant workers because they were cheaper, and sometimes they even came with better experience than the senior developers that I talked about. So now that employers prefer immigration and the workers that it brings with them, because some of these workers are very, very cheap. But now this is what they're talking about. They're saying that, hey, many workers have been hurt through no fault of their own due to the coronavirus, and they should not remain on the sidelines while being replaced by new foreign labor. So again, the same story repeats over here. They're trying to get these immigrants who already are taking up the jobs, they're saying that, hey, these jobs can go to American citizens instead. So give them the jobs and, just kick the immigrants out of the country. That's what they're saying. Hey, if you fall into one of these categories and you do not know what to do, you're in trouble right now, make sure to watch my previous video where I talked about what you should do next in case your OPT is ending, in case you do not have an H1B and you need to stay within the United States just to even apply again. I've given you a lot of ideas over there. You should definitely check that out. That's something that I would personally do as well. If I was in your position. So the next thing that we're talking about is the moving to a merit-based immigration system. So the Trump administration will reform our immigration system to prioritize the highest skilled workers and protect American jobs. So like I said, they want the highest skilled workers. Now there has to be some criteria to find out who is the highest skilled worker, right? So what they're saying is that, hey, of those 230 or 250k people that apply, only 85,000 visas have to be given out, and they should be given out based on the merit, and we can't really judge the merit because we're not really taking a separate test. So the only way to judge merit over here would be to check the salaries. Okay, the highest salaries that they are being offered, like these 250k people, they would be offered some salaries, right? Because to apply for the H1B, you need to have an employer who is sponsoring you. He needs to pay you some salary, and then they'll see who are these top 85,000 people according to the salaries that they're being offered, and those are the ones who will get the H1B. So that's their new idea. Again, as it says, at President Trump's direction, the administration is taking action to reform our H1B immigration. The H1B program will prioritize those workers who are offered the highest wage, ensuring the highest skilled applicants are admitted. Okay, the Trump administration will also close loopholes that have allowed employers in the United States to replace American workers with low-cost foreign workers. So we do not know what this means yet. This can mean a lot of things. There's a lot of gray area over here. What kind of loopholes they're talking about, we don't know yet. But hey, one thing is for sure, this will cause some trouble for us in the future, and I'm going to be talking about that and the potential impacts coming up in a minute. So finally, it says that these reforms will help protect the wages of American workers and ensure that foreign labor entering our country is high skilled and does not undercut the United States labor market. So again, the same thing that immigrants should not be able to take the jobs of the American workers. That's what they're saying. Okay, and then it just goes on to talk about some consensus, some polls stating that the American citizens are in support of whatever is happening right now. So it's really the same thing. Again, if you want to read this, I'll leave a link to this in the description. But this is really the meat of the whole thing I've given you over here, the summary. Okay, and what we can do over here is again, if you want to discuss this with me further, what you can go do is just go onto this page, buyamrad.com/firms, write your doubt over here, your situation over here. Like someone just wrote something over here, according to the last video that I made, and I reply over here. I'll give you advice based on your particular situation. Okay, but now what we want to do is we want to talk about some of these things that are going on. What are the potential impacts? How does it affect you? What does it change for you? Should you still go? Should you wait? Or what should you really do in this situation? Okay, so there are basically 5 things that I can think of over here that affect you the most. The first impact will be that immigrants will get paid more, or they would get paid just as much as the American workers. Remember when I talked about these position differences, senior software developer, junior software developer, immigrants over here, American citizens over here. So yeah, these things will probably disappear, and immigrants will get paid more, or their salaries would at least level that of American workers, just because the employer would want them to stay within the country, stay within their organization, right? So that's the first impact. That seems pretty good to me, but hey, it's not all that good. The second thing which comes with this is that employers may not prefer immigrant workers as much as they used to, because hey, now they have to pay them the same salary. So why would they want to take someone who they have to sponsor for the H1B? First off, the H1B process is pretty costly. You might know that the company bears huge expenses just while applying for your H1B. So that can probably affect you in a negative way. The employer would not want to do that. Okay, and secondly, there's a lot of uncertainty with H1B workers. Hey, are they going to be able to get the H1B again? It's a lottery-based system till now, but now I'm not sure if some other companies start giving more, and basically the threshold for those 85,000 people get higher, it's basically going to affect a lot of jobs in smaller companies and startups. So these things may come into the picture. Okay, so clearly the third point would be that startups may not be able to pay the competitive salaries as compared to what companies like Amazon, the big sharks can pay. Amazon, Google, Microsoft, these companies have a lot of money, so they can of course pay you better pay grade. And these things will definitely come into a picture when you're going to a startup. People will start preferring more companies that are paying higher, and of course the companies that usually pay higher are these big sharks only, and not the startups. That's not true in every case, but still in most cases it is. Okay, the fourth thing that I can see right away is that managerial positions may take the win. As you might know, even if you're working in a startup or in a company, you will see that the managers, if you just check the salaries online, the managers are paid much more. Why is that? Because they have usually been an employee in the past, they already know what the work is, and then they teach the work to the other employees that are basically their team. They can have a small team, they can have a large team, but in the end, they're basically managing the whole team. They're doing their work also, and at the same time, they're making sure that all the people who are their subordinates are also performing well. Their team is also performing well. So they usually have much more of a responsibility, and the thing is that's why they're offered more competitive salaries, higher salaries. So what I can think of is that if there's a software developer and a manager who's a project manager who's basically heading the software developer, and both of these are immigrants, this guy's salary is clearly higher, right? And that's what's going to take the win in those top 85,000 H1B visas. So be aware of that. Okay, the final thing that I can think of is that, hey, till now what was very common was that students would go to tier 3 universities in the US. Okay, tier 3 universities, which would probably not be one of the topmost universities. They would not have the top talent coming in, but at the same time, these students who just wanted to make a life in the United States of America would go over there and study in these universities for a low tuition, because these are tier 3 universities. They do not charge as much, the tuition can be lower, so that's why students would prefer these. And at the same time, in the end, what goes on is that, hey, you graduate from the university, you can still get a job most cases, as long as the university's location is good. A good example of that would be SJSU. You can say there's a lot more. I'm not saying SJSU is a tier 3 university, but I'm saying that, hey, the top companies sometimes do not come to universities like that. Okay, so companies like Amazon may not visit that campus, or may only pick very few students from that campus. Okay, so their whole edge is based on the location that they are offering. Hey, it's in the middle of Silicon Valley, or hey, it's in the middle of a very popular area which has a lot of employment opportunities over there. So till now this used to be the case, but what happens now is that even if this university, a lot of startups are visiting it, as I mentioned already, the startups cannot pay as much as these top sharks that are dominating the industry. So definitely somewhere international students will get some sort of an intuition that, hey, we may not be able to bag such a good offer just by going to this university. So these universities, these tier 3 universities, may not see a lot of international applicants, may not see a lot of immigrants coming in, from that perspective. So yeah, these are some of the potential effects of what happens if this rule comes into play. Again, like I said, it's not 100% clear if this will be implemented, because the elections are coming up in November. We do not know what's going on, and basically Trump's tenure may end. If it's not ending, of course, if Trump is over here after November 2020 also, then things may move in this direction. Okay, and you need to be ready for that. That's why I'm saying, a lot of applicants ask me, should we go for spring 2021? I would say you should wait. It's not a good time. You should wait till fall 2021 at least, just to be sure that things are moving in a favorable direction. Or if you're very sure about your profile, you think you are a great candidate, you can bag great universities or great companies when things start to happen like that, you need employment, definitely you do not need to be worried. Hey, and if you have a scholarship, you again do not need to be worried. So some of these things I've already talked about. Again, your particular case, I know I cannot cover everything here in this video. That's why I talked about the discussions forum on Why I'm Grad. You can go over there, explain your scenario to me, and I would be very happy to explain what is on my mind and what I think about it. Okay, no charges for that. I hope this helps. I just wanted to give you a brief perspective on how H1B is going to be changing. And apart from that, if you like the research that I've done and the amount of time that I've spent on this, what you can do is you can just subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up. That really encourages me. And yeah, apart from that, let's hope that things start moving in the right direction for a change. It's been a while since that has happened. I will try to connect with you guys regarding this soon, maybe using a live session on my Instagram, so you can check that out. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for being with me here today, and I'll see you. Bye.